want to get you thinking about possibilities here. What if I told you that a teenage high school dropout who'd run away from home, very defiant the whole time, will go on to create an award-winning program that helps hundreds of young people on the path to success? Would you be surprised to learn that I'm going to count these off, incarcerated, homeless, man in recovery will go on to run a major chain restaurant, hire scores of formerly incarcerated workers, and bring the rating of that national store into the stratosphere? I think I'm supposed to be advancing my slides. Bear with me here. Here we are. That's JobTrain. That's the teenager. This is the incarcerated man. Well, meet Davida and Jeff, and they have done just that. People like Davida and Jeff exist in our communities, but are too often overlooked. Why? Because they simply don't have the skills employers need. What if we could get those skills into their hands? What if we could take these once unstable lives, make them stable, and doors open up for them? My name is Barrie Hathaway, and I'm the CEO of JobTrain, a workforce development nonprofit in Menlo Park, on the board of Menlo Park in East Palo Alto. And JobTrain has been doing this work for many years now, for over 50 years, helping people on a pathway to success. In the San Francisco Bay Area where we live, 1.6 million people are living in poverty. This is our place where we live. Half of them are working. And in a region where unemployment is at an all-time low, we still have people and families unable to make ends meet. I'm talking about people like you and me, hardworking, dedicated, and talented. And there's no question that now more than ever, employers need these people to be skilled up as well. So JobTrain is an organization that comes and fills in that gap, that is helping men and women who are low income but talented and capable skill up and get ready to get onto this pathway to economic mobility. And we do this in a number of ways. We have what we think of as a three-step process. Now I'm gonna ask you to hold on to this idea of 3 steps, because a little bit later I'm gonna come back to this. The first step in our process is really helping somebody who's very low income. And not everybody who comes to JobTrain is low income, but not everybody who comes is unstable. But if they are, if they need housing security, food security, access to benefits, then they can get access to those things at JobTrain. The next level of our program is a basic skills program. So now I'm stable and I'm ready to start upgrading. I may not be ready yet for career pathway because I have some things I need to get fixed and in place. Things like get my high school diploma or a GED, improve my English skills with ESL training, maybe digital skills to be ready for the digital workplace. So I'm upgrading my skills. These are valuable to me in the moment, but they also prepare me for the third level of JobTrain's program, which is intensive career training. This is career training that helps somebody get a start in an emerging or very well situated career pathway. At JobTrain, right now, that looks like 4 different career pathways. That's the healthcare pathways, a technology pathway, a construction trades pathway, and a culinary arts pathway. These 3 steps are what we think of as the steps to economic mobility, and they make up a sort of an on-ramp for a very low-income person to make it into these great careers. And I'm here to tell you that this really works. How do I know it works? Well, first of all, in 2018 alone, about 500 men and women went through our career training program. JobTrain has the outcomes for JobTrain are so good that when I was applying for the job, I didn't believe it. And it's not that I didn't believe it, it's that I couldn't imagine it. How could they be this good? For instance, of those 500 people who come into the training program, almost 90% of them will make it all the way through 11 weeks full-time intensive training. And of those people who do make it through, 80% are securing jobs. Very importantly, earning an average wage of about $45,000 a year. Let's call that $22 an hour, because we're going to come back to that too. And very importantly, a year later, because we always track for at least a year, 81% of those graduates are still working. So this is a program that really works. Remember Davida and Jeff? I'll tell you a little bit more about them. So Davida ran away from home, dropped out of high school, found herself basically barely able to make ends meet from a housing perspective. And her hope was diminishing rapidly. Like a lot of people who come to JobTrain, she was referred by a family member. Her sister, in fact, convinced her that ultimately she should come to JobTrain and see what JobTrain might have for her. She did eventually come, and she did eventually enroll in the training program. If you came to our Breakfast of Champions, you met Davida. She's quite an amazing young woman. But Davida did very well in our culinary arts training program, did an internship right after the program, and got a job right after that. And now the magic for Davida and so many of the people in our community started to happen. The reality is that Davida was so unstable in her life, she couldn't even really begin to dream about what her future could be. Now she's got a job, she's getting a regular paycheck, she's stable, and she begins to think about, who am I and what do I want to do? For her, it was helping young people just like her. And today, Davida has designed tremendous award-winning programs that are helping hundreds of young people just like her on a pathway to success. Then there's Jeff. Jeff is the blonde-haired man in between the two women there. Jeff came to JobTrain while he was still incarcerated on a furlough program that the San Mateo County jails, unique in the Bay Area, allows people to come from incarceration to a training program while they're incarcerated. He also went through our culinary arts program. Jeff finished the program and got a job while incarcerated at Panera Bread and worked at Panera Bread until he was released. And upon release, Jeff was seen, he stayed at Panera, and he was seen as a very strong worker, creative, leaderly, and within a couple of years, Jeff had been promoted to general manager of this Panera Bread store in San Francisco. Along that time, he proceeded to hire scores of JobTrain graduates, and they together raised the rank of this Panera Bread store, and they ranked all the stores across the nation from number 864 in the nation to number 3 in the nation. This is talent. People like Davida and Jeff exist in our communities, and there are a lot of JobTrain graduates just like Davida and Jeff. I could stand here all day and tell you stories about the people that I've met and that I know. This good work, these high success rates, really make for an incredible return on investment that should catch the eye of any investor. We know that for every dollar that's invested in JobTrain, $2 will be returned within the first year in terms of increased income and reduced government spending. And because we've been around for a long time, we know that 50% or 70% of our graduates will still be working in the field 10 years later, and that is compounding that return on investment year over year. So now what's next for JobTrain? First of all, I want to say, if you're with me, you understand that this program really works. And so part of our strategic plan and part of our future is building on this model that works. We're needed. We're still needed in this community. The programs we do work. And so what we're doing in this element of building on what works, we're refining our programs. We're improving them, and we're expanding them to other communities in the Bay Area. You remember that 3 steps to economic opportunity, and you may have noticed that I said that our average wages are about $22 an hour. Does anybody here, I'm going to ask you to hold the number in your head. How much do you think it costs a family of 4 to make ends meet in the San Francisco Bay Area? Salary per year. Hold the number in your head. It's $117,000 depending on which study you use. $117,000 a family needs to earn an income. 2 parents working, $31 a year. Our average wages, $22 an hour. Outstanding, best in class, not enough. So a big part of our future going forward is adding a 4th step to those steps of opportunity, which is really about advancing careers, really about moving people, once they're in their career, much more quickly up the ladder, earning more money. And finally, we know very well that the only way we're going to be successful is if we have good relationships with employers and we understand what you need and we're making sure the people that we work with are getting the skills you need so you would be happy to hire them. And in the end, it's all about a simple phrase, a simple idea that stability creates opportunity. If I'm poor and I'm struggling to make ends meet day over day, I am unable to access the opportunity in front of me. The reality is that there are a lot of men and women in our community who've gone through JobTrain who are stable. They're passing that stability on to their families. They're passing that stability on to their communities. And it creates a whole new generation of inspiration. And dreams do happen when we become stable and we are able to share that with our families. Just ask these folks. And thank you very much.